So what is my new car? Ta-da! Okay guys, before you do anything, pause this video and go watch my last video where you will see I am giving away my Fiat 500 Abarth and you could win. So if you're interested in that, watch that video, comment. I need to get enough interest. It's pretty dirty now, but I'll fix it up. Red leather. Okay, so here it is, my new car. This is an Audi TTS. It's a 2017. It is pretty awesome. It looks cool. Look at those lights. Very cool. Looks like a little R8. That's what it is. A baby R8. It's really dirty right now. It's been storming like crazy here, and I haven't washed it. When I bought it, it had 12,000 miles, so I guess it's not really that new. I've had it for about 7 months now. It had 12,000 miles when I bought it. It's got 17 right now. 20-inch wheels. The interior is amazing. Look at these seats. Not very good lighting. The dash is incredible when it's on. It's very minimalistic. No, it's not a manual, but it does have paddle shifters. They don't make these in manual anymore, unfortunately. But it's still fun. I kind of wanted a paddle shift car because I've never driven one until this, and it just seems kind of nice to have in the city, you know. So when I was shopping for this car, I had quite a few other cars on my list. The other ones I test drove, I actually drove the TTRS. That's what I test drove. More on that later. But I test drove the Alfa Romeo 4C, which is like my dream car. And I test drove a new 718 Cayman S, which is also a very cool car. It's got a little spoiler that comes up at 77 miles per hour. I'll get in here and doodle with things so you can see while I talk about this. So basically, I test drove the Alfa Romeo 4C first, and it was a pretty awesome car. The things I didn't love about it, I didn't love the throttle feel. The throttle response was very weird to me. I felt like I wouldn't have liked that. I couldn't have gotten used to it. It's just really weird. One problem with the Alfa Romeo was that it was a new one, so you can't really put it into sport mode or dynamic mode, whatever it's called, unless it has 1,500 miles, I think. So that could have swayed my opinion. I don't know. Probably not, though. The sounds it made were incredible. The turbo has got to be right behind your head because you can hear it so clearly, and it just makes the best noises I've ever heard in a car. It was really low. It was really weird because I took the same route for all the cars I test drove, and then when I test drove that one, there was a huge box in the middle of the road. I had to swerve and miss. But it's really low, and my driveway kind of scrapes some cars that aren't very low. So I knew I'd scrape a lot around here. I'd scrape every time I came into my driveway, and I knew that would pretty much kill me. I'd be very upset about that all the time. But this one has so many ways to just kind of fiddle around and customize it, and there's so much information. I've got lane change assist there, which is pretty nice. Heated seats. I love how all these buttons are, where you can twist it. Here's the controls for the air conditioning, just right in there. When you turn this off, you can't even see it. It has most of the options. I think auto start stop is the only option it doesn't have. The Porsche Cayman 718 Cayman S that I test drove, I was in love with. That's what I wanted. It felt awesome, it sounded awesome, it was nice to drive, but ultimately I don't love the interior of Porsches. I think they're kind of ugly and plain inside. That's one of the big reasons I didn't go with that. Also, it was a lot more expensive, and I feel like you get a lot less. When you add on the options to equal what the options this car has, it's probably north of $80,000. Kind of ridiculous. Another problem with the Porsche was just the fact that it doesn't have very much storage space, which isn't a huge issue for me, but I figured some storage space is good, and this has quite a bit of storage space. Technically, the Cayman has more storage space than this in cubic feet, but it's split between the front and the back, so you can't really put big things in there. I've hauled some fairly big things with this. It's got a pretty big back, and then you can fold these seats down flat, and it gets even bigger. You can take this out, you can even take this out. The TTRS was pretty awesome. I drove a Catalonia red model, which is really an orange color, which is really nice color. I didn't really get to open it up all that much, because by the time I test drove the TTRS, traffic in Kansas City was really getting a little crazy. Loved it. I loved all the Alcantara in it, but the interior was kind of plain to me. I like my interiors to pop. Plus, you can get an APR tune on the TTS for $700 maybe, and that'll bring it back up to pretty close to, if not the same as, TTRS performance standards. Otherwise, they were pretty much the same. TTRS has had the fixed spoiler, which I like. I think it looks good. The wheels on the TTRS are really ugly. You can't really get nice wheels, and I really like these wheels. Also dirty. Other cars I immediately considered were the Miata, a newer Miata RF. I also considered a WRX STI. Look at those. Those get really dirty and they're impossible to clean. I test drove the Miata. It just felt, it has a decent 0 to 60, but it just felt really slow to me after having driven all the cars I drove. Then I test drove the STI. It's not quite as fast as all the other cars I tested, but for some reason I absolutely loved it. It has a lot of Alcantara in it, which makes it feel really nice. That's what I was worried about most with the STI. I felt like it was going to feel like a, you know, a kind of cheap car inside, a cheap Japanese car inside, but it felt really quality. It felt on par with these German luxury sports cars. Things really just throw you around. They have harsh shifting, and it's pretty insane. First time I had driven one, actually. I've always liked them. But for $38,000, I think it was, over 40 if you add on like the keyless entry and stuff, which this has, which I would want. I feel like it wasn't enough car. It wasn't nice enough. It wasn't unique enough for me to spend that much money on it. This car, on the other hand, I've never seen another one on the roads or anything, at least of this model year. There's a guy who lives right down the road from me with a TT, first generation TT, and then I went to the local Cars and Coffee last month, and there were two first gen TTs there, but they're cool, but they're ugly. You have to admit it. Other cars I was considering that I didn't really go look at, BMW M2, BMW, what's it called, the 1 Series M. I really like the idea of being a BMW driver though. This car is beautiful, it's fun, it's technological, it's just a little baby R8, and it's really nice. There are some qualms I have about it. I'll get into in a different video maybe. And I have had some issues with it since getting it that have cost me quite a bit of money. So I'll also do a video on that. And that's not the car's fault, it's the dealership's fault I got it from. I got it from a dealership in Ohio, and they shipped it to me, and they've just been horrendous to work with. So I'm not even going to say their name because they're so terrible. I don't want anybody to ever even consider using them. I got the Daytona gray pearl paint. I don't know how well you can tell, but it's got a pearlescent kind of finish to it. Looks really good, especially with the red leather. That is just the best combination in my opinion. My only really requirements for my car were close to 4.5 seconds 0 to 60 or less, so that kind of bumped the Miata out, but I love Miatas, so I decided to try it anyway. Also bumps the STI out, but it feels like it's a lot faster than it actually is, just because of how it kind of throws you around. Other requirements, I wanted it to be low and sporty. That Fiat, you sit kind of high, and I missed being in a low sporty car. It also had to have heated seats because I've never had heated seats before, so that was what I wanted. Those were pretty much the three requirements when I was shopping. So I know there's a lot of different cars that would meet that. It also had to be between $40,000 to maybe $70,000. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think I made a good choice? Which car would you have gotten out of the ones I looked at? And if there were any I didn't mention, which one do you think I should have looked at? Because I'm always open to trading if I find something that I have more fun in. Definitely going to do a video on the things I don't like about it and the issues I've had with it that have cost me quite a bit of money. Don't forget to go watch my other video. You can win this sucker, the Ola Bar. Look at that, scorpions everywhere. That's just cool. I haven't gotten a lot of interest, well, I've gained quite a few subscribers since I posted it, but I haven't had very many people comment saying they want me to do it. So if you want me to do it, you've got to comment and let me know. Otherwise, I don't know that you're interested. Look at that. I looked at a lot of cars, guys, so something you suggest that I look at or think that I should have gotten instead, I might have already looked at it, because I looked at a lot of things. I even looked at old used R8s, like early model years. They're not super reliable, and they don't look very good to me compared to the new ones. And this one, the front end looks just like one. When you see it from the side, you know it's not, but actually some people don't know it's not. I did really want a mid-engine car, but I settled for front engine. It's still really sporty and drivable, and I don't think these things get enough credit. They're super rare, not very many people get them, but they're awesome. I think they got a bad rep because the first model year was ugly, second model year was kind of ugly, but now they have great performance, pretty reliable, and they look amazing. Also be on the lookout, because I've been looking into motorcycles again, and you might be surprised by what I have been poking around at.